installing the Tesla Offer automatic liftgate. I've already previously done i1 Tesla's automatic liftgate, but obviously it doesn't close. And look, it's not even open right now. But usually works pretty well. Anyways, the i1 Tesla modification just increases the tension, which usually lets it lift up all the way by itself, but that also means it's harder to close. So the automatic thing should alleviate these issues. Right, so what I'm actually going to do is go out of order of the installation, because they keep saying that the hardest part is running the wire, fishing it through that cable. So I'm going to try that first, because if I can't even get that, I'm not going to want to put everything back together afterwards. Alright, so let's see how that goes. So based on a suggestion from a YouTube commenter, whose name I can't quite remember what her name was, but she suggested making sure to check everything, because when she did hers, they were missing the Y cable. String, which appears to be zip ties. No zip ties. I've got zip ties, not really a problem. I guess that's everything but the zip ties. Okay, aside from the replacement zip ties, other stuff I got for this project: wire pull cord. Along with the wire pull cord, wire pull lubricant. A lot more than I'll probably ever need. Torx bits, what do you call it, to attach my electric drill driver to socket wrenches, so taking off the bumper will be a little easier. Trim piece removal kit. Got these on Amazon. Actually, I think all of these are pretty much from Amazon. Alright, so first thing I'm going to try to do is remove these without cutting. Now I noticed there's a little bit of a thing that you might be able to pinch to open this out. So far I put a small scratch in the paint. Alright, so I suggest using a trim tool like this and pushing down. You'll be able to see it's got a little bit of a squeeze. Piece of foam here that I'm now ruining, apparently. Finally. Okay, let me consult their video. I've never used a wire pull cable. Let's see how well this goes. Put some lubricant on the end. I need to put along the whole thing. Almost there. Aha! Got it. Success! Alright, as per instructions in the video. By the way, I'm looking at the longer, newer 30-minute video that kind of got pulled when I called support or texted support. They sent me a link to it. They said they're replacing that particular video. It's a little too much lubricant on there, which is great for getting it through, but not so good if you're trying to attach something. Let's put this down here first. And then the second wire, a little ways down, that way you don't get a bump. So there's the first wire, wired up here. Okay, let's put on some lube. That didn't sound right at all, does it? Wasn't really clear. I'm wondering if it's a good idea putting lubricant on this fabric wrap. May not be. Try to wipe it off when I've got it through. The problem with lubricant is it makes it hard to get a grip. That did the trick. Alright. Apparently that's the hardest part. I guess we'll go to the easy parts now. Alright, next part's supposed to be really easy. They say you don't need a pry tool, but air bottom. So, alright, that is easy. Oh, there's one of the green clips that they say you should save. Makes it easier. Right. That looks broken. That is broken. It's not good. Guess watch out for that. Guess I'll epoxy that back on. At least it's a clean break. And another final break. Alright, next part, that bottom. There we go. So I found removing those clips pretty easy using a paint can opener, which you might have in your garage. Basically, pop it out, and then use a regular pry tool to get underneath it and pop it out. Alright, I lied, I'm going to hold it. There. Remove the lights are pretty easy, just follow the instructions. Just use a little what do you call it, trim tool to pop or push the little lever down, wires comes out. There, that's where you'd stick it. So, I either missed this in the video, but they didn't, I didn't catch this, or they didn't mention it, but there's another additional trim piece down here. You can easily just use your fingers to pull that out, and here. So that allows you to pull this whole this next part we'll be putting in the struts. So I've already removed these struts before when I did the I1 Tesla modification, and I put a towel here because some people have reported when you yank it, it can hit this and you don't want to chip your glass. Pull a flathead screwdriver, pop this guy out up a bit, and then you need to slide it up. And I just scratched my paint. God damn it. Or what I actually used before was an old set of tweezers. They're not that long. Fit in nicely. like a wedge. There we go. It's not working so good. There. With a set of needle nose pliers, I slid it up a bit. Okay, probably a good idea to have a piece of wood to hold this up, or use your head, like I just did. Now for the bottom part, probably would have been smarter to set, get them both ready to go, and then do it at once. Voila. And get the replacement. Slight problem. The I-1 Tesla struts are shorter, so I can't get it high enough. Just leave it in jammed in there, so I'll have to remove the other one. Alright, probably the better way to have done that. So, I loosened the top one and the bottom one so I can pull them up in succession and put in the replacement strut. So, once more, use something to hold up the trunk. In my case, I'm using my head. Put a towel here and let me get the other while I'm continuing to support this. Alright, both struts installed. Now I guess we're going to do all the wiring and crap. I'm an idiot. I installed these struts upside down because I was thinking the springy part goes on the bottom, or at least the other part goes on the bottom, just like the old version. Ugh, crap. What have I done? Note, I've now installed the right side one, right side up. I highly recommend not installing them upside down. It's pretty tight here, so I have to take off this rubber gasket, and then I end up using this paint removal can that I bent. So next part, I remove this to remove the headlights. Two 10mm bolts behind, clip just like it says on the video. Pretty straightforward, I hope. Yeah, you just gotta give it a good yank and it comes out. There's two little plastic things that pop off. This right here, and that. So if you're crazy like me and you decide to put in the foot thing, the foot sensor, you need to remove the trunk. And in the original video Tesla offer put out, they didn't tell you all of the screws that you need to remove. These are pretty much them. So the first ones that they do show are the 6 trim pieces, 3 in each wheel well, 2 on each side, so an additional 4 near the wheel well on the bottom part of the bumper. And of course underneath those trim flaps, these guys, and these are all 10mm. What they didn't tell you about are these guys exposed on the top of the cavity when you open the when you remove the tail lights. I'll show you that in a sec. These screws come out of here, and there should be 3 of these. Oddly enough, there were only 2. The bumper. So the bumper is connected to this rather large flat aero panel, and there are 3 screws here, and they were like finger tight, and one of them was missing. So probably better go get another one. It looks like it's identical to the pieces that go in the trim holes. Yeah, sorry, you can't really see that, but there is actually a Torx 20 bolt right up in here. So it screws into this clip. So make sure you don't lose that clip when you pop it out. Oh, works a lot better now. Still scary as hell. got the bumper off. A little worried it was hanging by this cable, so I slid this piece off. A lot less tension, I didn't like that. Something I didn't mention before, when you fish the wire, and I didn't see actually explicit in the video, you want to obviously put it through here. Now there's kind of a hole right through here. Just kind of stick your fingers in there and reach for the cabling and pull that out. That's probably the best way to get it out, since this is eventually going to have to go in here anyway. So I think the next point, I think I'll go through here and I'll just wire everything through this hole instead, like the original recommended. So I'm trying to tuck as much of the cabling in this rear area of the trunk as possible, so it's a little less messy when you actually get to the cavity. So I'm mounting the motor down there as per the instructions, wrapped in packaging material, and then the control unit I'm going to attach to that metal box that says Tesla. Around the wire, down here, through, can't really see that, through the top, in that area, out to the front. Alright, here on the inside, here's the back of the seat area, seat belt. I'm trying to get the wiring that I've previously run across the top and kind of shoving it into this gap behind, to get it behind this trim piece here. I bundled the 3 wires together, and I'm going to try to run them to the front. Now, the videos haven't been super clear on which trim pieces to run them along. It's pretty obvious that you can run it along the top part of the trunk. Then it'll come out over here, and that's where it gets a little confusing. So now, what I'm going to try to do is squeeze it underneath here, and somehow get it into this trim here. Maybe this area opens and get it under here. Hopefully there's a way to take this off. Maybe I just got to pull. Yes. Pull. Okay, that wasn't so bad after all. More trim here. You can just get it underneath. I don't think you need to take the whole thing off. Probably a good idea to run it across first. Make sure to put it on the correct side of the seatbelt. Alright, slide this side in first. I think that makes it easier. Hopefully. Alright, watch out for this with the wire tapping doohickeys. If it gets twisted like this, it won't tap right because it'll actually it won't cut through the insulation. So make sure that it's lined up and perfectly parallel when it goes in. So that actually messed up my CAN bus tap and foot sensor tap. Alright, this was not fun. Let's get a situation here. So here are the pedals, and what you're looking for is to the left side, and where are we? No, past that. Okay, right up there. Alright, so there's this horrible white thing, and it's behind her. You gotta remove this thing, otherwise it's going to be impossible to get to that bolt to tap into the power. So that's all I'll add for that. So once more, this is where this is at. There's your CAN bus that tapped into. Fairly straightforward. Alright, that power line, it's really hard to get to, and I can't quite get my ratcheting wrench to get in there. I might have better luck with a regular 10mm wrench, but if that doesn't work, I'm going to try an old trick of taking my socket and sticking a 6mm Allen wrench into it. So, not pretty, but hopefully it'll get the job done. So this is where I'm going to install the foot sensor. For context, it's in the center, I hope. And I just put the double-sided tape on first. It kind of fits right in there. Gotta pop that guy in a little bit. If you're going through the bumper route and putting in the sensor, there was a suggestion that you should go through this little hole there that had a rubber gasket and get rid of the rubber gasket. That's connected to the charge ports, like a drain hose in case of water gets there, so I'm not sure if that's a great idea. So I just went through those vent flaps on the bottom instead. Okay, I've attached the wire to the trunk release, and it actually comes without any connections on the end. I'm not sure what's going on here. I guess I'll find out. But in order to put it under the kind of the velvet lining, I popped there two trim tabs here. Just pop them out, move it forward, and put the cable underneath. Pretty straightforward. Figured out what to do with a foot sensor by reading the instructions instead of the looking at the web page or the YouTube video. I have version 2 apparently, so I don't know how useful that will be for anybody else. But with version 2, it comes with this giant tap, positive tap, that you tap the positive line into the positive power cable coming from up here right before it goes into the control box, and the ground, just into the same ground. I had to modify the little ground connector though, because it was too small to fit in the bolt, so I had to cut that and turn it into a C-clamp. Now I'm going to try to put the trunk back since I'm done with the under trunk part. I think I may have scratched a little bit with those metal tabs. I guess I should take those off. So, careful with these metal tabs. Alright, here's a moment of truth. Before I close everything up, make sure everything works. Yay! Woo! Alright, technically second moment of truth because I tried it once first, but I forgot to clip these things in and these got squished, so probably not great. Alright, since everything seems to work, I pretty much put everything where they suggested. Put the motor for this over here inside the cavity. Hopefully that won't affect sound quality since that's kind of the reflex area for the subwoofer, apparently. And I attached the control unit there. And of course,